Today we're going to look at how to use a treadle type sewing machine. In this example we're going to be using a Singer Model 127, although it could be any model in reality. There's a few things you need to know how to use to do this effectively. As you can see, I'm not got any thread in the machine at all, and that's honestly how you should start. Now, if you go by the Singer manual, it gives a few steps to go by to become proficient. This is going to be my recommendation. Start with the machine with no thread in it, with the stitch mechanism disconnected by using the clutch at the center of the balance wheel. Turn it over towards you on a Singer machine. This allows you to operate the band wheel without running the stitching mechanism. Now it might run because there's enough drag on that bearing there. It might pull it around. If it does sit there and run, just put the presser foot down, and that's enough drag to keep it from running. And if it bothers you that there's nothing there, you can put a piece of leather or a scrap of cloth or something there. But now you can operate the balance wheel without running the rest of the machine. Next, place your feet on the treadle. Some people have different preferences on how to do this. I'm going to demonstrate it one-footed here for the purposes of this video. Now the treadle has dead centers just like an engine does. A single-cylinder steam engine has two dead centers, and so does a treadle. And you can see I'm on a dead center. Well, not quite. I'm able to rock it off. But there is a dead center here and a dead center there. So be cautious when stopping that you're not on dead center. If you are on dead center, you will have to use your hand on the balance wheel to get rocked off. Sometimes if you're just near the dead center, you can rock the treadle back and forth to get off the dead center. So keep that in mind. If you want to be able to run your machine without ever having to put your hand on the balance wheel, learn how to sense with your foot where you're at mid-stroke, where you can start again. It takes a bit of practice. And I usually cheat. I find it's a little bit easier. You have a little bit more control to just go ahead and put your hand on the balance wheel and use it to help with starting and stopping. Of course, the preference is entirely yours. But learn how to do that and become proficient in starting the machine in the right direction and not letting it go backwards. If you let the machine go backwards, you're very likely to break a thread. Another thing that's a good point to think about is that when doing some slow stitches, it's much easier just to run the balance wheel over by hand those few turns that you need it just to take a couple stitches than it is to try to operate the treadle that slowly, because it can be kind of hard running it slow to keep it going past the dead centers. A good exercise to follow if you're trying to become better at treadling is to see how slow you can operate the treadle to keep it from stalling. It's sort of like doing the slow races on the traction engines at Pawnee. You have to keep the band wheel turning and not let it get stuck on a dead center. Because if you get it stuck on a dead center, you will have to get yourself off of it. So once you've mastered that, which as you can see I haven't, because I really don't sew a whole lot, I just like the machines, as explained earlier, you're ready to move on to the next step, which is running the machine. Remember to go back over here and release your brake. Now we're going to be operating the entire machine, not just the balance wheel. Alright, now you've got a little bit of extra load from the machine, running the machine. Say, if you pay attention to where your heel and toe are when you stop, you can figure out when to start and stop. I'm going to stop with my toe going down. That means I need to press again with my toe to start. Now I'm going to stop with my heel going down. So to start again, I need to press with my heel. Like I said, you do not want the machine to run backwards. And there's a little bit of momentum there. So it's really not a bad idea to use your hand on the balance wheel, because you're able to control the starting and stopping a lot more precisely. With your hand on that balance wheel, there's a lot of once you've satisfied yourself that you're proficient in being able to start and stop the machine at will and not have it go backwards, then you can thread it up and try to sew. A good way to become more proficient is to try starting it in positions that are closer to dead center but not on dead center. In traction engine talk, this would be paying attention to your quadrants, what quadrant you are in. If you really want to you've got quite a bit of mechanical disadvantage here. You can throw the belt off, and then if you get the belt on the left side of the wheel, it won't try to put itself back on while you're practicing. But you can really get a feel for the band wheel and what you can do. This is something you cannot do when the belt is on, is sit there and bounce it back and forth past dead center like that. There's too much inertia in the rest of the system to be able to do that. And also, there would be too much backwards motion of the machine. But the feeling that you get from being able to from manipulating the treadle like this with the belt off gives you a little bit of experience in how to handle it. And some treadlers recommend starting like this. Now you see it's tight because the belt is starting to engage. No, I'm on a dead center. sometimes you can run it like this and the belt will never engage even though it is on the right side. And to do that, simply grab hold of the belt and pull up on it, and it will catch. Like that. And that's something else to practice, is being able to throw the belt off and put it back on, because that's something you'll have to be able to do. If operating the machine, the belt doesn't come on, just pull up on it, rotate the band wheel in the right direction, and the belt will re-engage. Another thing to practice is adding the bobbin winder to the mix produces a lot of extra drag, and you can practice running the machine with all this extra load on it. Oops, we're going the wrong way. Those are just some exercises that you can do. Run the machine without using the just the bobbin winder. Keep the machine running, keep it operating smoothly. You might have to use both feet for this. You might be able to do this with one foot like I'm doing at the present. And this actually takes quite a bit more effort than it does just to run the machine. And you can vary a little bit how hard you have the bobbin winder pressed against there. It'll determine how hard you have to work at it. So there you go. That's how to run a treadle sewing machine. There's not a whole lot to it. It's a lot nicer than hand cranking, because you have both hands free. And you really have a lot of control too. A lot of the electric machines, you don't have this large hand wheel here where you can very precisely move the stitching mechanism when necessary. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope you give treadling some due consideration and help save some treadle machines from being butchered up by people who have watched too much HGTV or Flip It, and Flea Market Flip, and all those other idiotic programs that are out there where they destroy good antique equipment. So, once again, thank you for watching.